Hey guys, it's Delval and we're coming back with a new type of video. This video I'm going to be showing you the basics of all the information that you require in World War Z, and then later we're going to be doing a few videos for helping with higher difficulties, but gotta get the basics and understand what everything means out the way first. So let's do it. So the first thing that we're going to look at is classes. Now on the class screen you will see that there are 6 classes in total throughout World War Z. And starting from left to right, we're going to go through them and give a rough idea of how their gameplay works. So first, starting with the Gunslinger. It's a class that is mostly based on keeping accuracy, weapon damage, and giving some sort of ammo boost to themselves. And then we have Hellraiser. His gameplay consists of good crowd control through the use of explosives. That's mostly the gist of this class. Next we have Medic, which says it in the title. It's here to provide better healing for teammates, it's here to help buff them, it's here to give them temporary HP, all that good stuff, faster resin as well. Next up we then have the Fixer, which is another good support role, except this one is more based on providing ammo regen, explosive ammo types, and a thing called masking, which helps mask you from the Zeeks, making things a bit easier on your team. Next up then, we also have Slasher, who has skills that are based on, as the title suggests, melee. So that includes things such as hitting more targets with one swing, being able to swing more times before becoming tired, and being able to provide more damage onto each melee swing as well. And finally we have Exterminator, which is another really good crowd control character, but this one is more based on fire for crowd control rather than explosives. It does have some explosives mixed in, but most of the perks go towards boosting the fire. Now, the one thing you'll notice that every class does share or have in common is perks. One thing though that happens as you level up is you gain more perks, but levels aren't shared amongst every class. As you can see, I have a level 16 Gunslinger here, but my Hellraiser is still level 1. I'd have to play that class specifically to gain XP for it. Now, as you start to level up, you will unlock more perks, starting with this top left column here. And as you then unlock more higher levels for that class, you're going to unlock the one below it, then the one below it, and then you're going to go all the way to the top of the next column, and so on and so on. Now, each class, as you will see, has 4 red perks. These perks are exclusive to that class, and you won't find them in any of the others, such as some of the grey ones that you'll find mixed in for the other classes at different levels. After you unlock a skill though, you'll still need to purchase it using what's called supplies, which you gain for completing levels. You can see your total amount of supplies in your top right corner here. As you unlock perks though, the cost for them will go up the higher the level the perk is. So for example, this one was unlocked at level 10 and it cost 250. Everything below that only costs 150. So as you can see, as you go up the levels, it will start to cost more. I'll actually have a breakdown just appear on screen here at the moment. And as you can see, the stuff highlighted on the left here is going to all cost 150. Then everything highlighted now is going to cost 250, and then 350, and then 500. And for that one perk right at the very end is always going to cost 1000. Now, when you go to select your perks, you can tell what ones you have selected by the little top left yellow arrow. And what you can do is you can have one from each column perfectly fine, but you can't have more than one perk selected from the same column. So for example, I couldn't have Fire in the Hole and Power Nap together. If I went to select it, it would force me to choose one of them. But I can have Power Nap and Swap Mags completely fine. So there won't be any issue with that. In general, that covers the basics of the perk tree, selecting perks and what each of the classes do. Now, the next thing, as I said, that we are going on to is weapon customization, which on this screen, every weapon in the game is broken down into tiers, which you can see here on the left hand side of the screen. Now, this is based on rarity of the weapon found and just the general better stats that it would have over its predecessors. Now, the only weapons that you won't find here are heavy weapons, which are special weapons that can be found in-game throughout levels, such as RPGs, LMGs, which have set stats and can't be affected by anything on this screen. Now, as you'll notice as well, every weapon on this screen has a level associated with it, bar melee. Melee doesn't have any sort of level XP or system to it. In order to gain XP for each of these weapons, you'll need to kill infected with that set gun throughout levels, and you'll need to finish the level for that to then come across and be saved. Now, the stats for the infected XP is if you kill a normal Zeke or infected, you are given 1 XP per kill. If you kill an infected or normal infected with a headshot, you are given 3 XP per kill. All specials, bar lurkers, give 11 XP regardless of headshot kill or not, and lurkers are given 13 XP regardless of headshot kill or not. Now, what you can also notice is all weapons only can go to a max rank of 5, but as you gain levels, you'll notice that a new variant of that gun, a better variant, will become available to be purchased with supplies as well, just like perks. Now, some of these have 2 variant lines that focus on different playstyles and different stats, and some guns, such as the shotgun here, only has the 1 line of progression for it. Now, the amount of XP that is required to unlock each level to gain new variants is dependent on the level and tier of that weapon. I'm going to have a quick list pop up on screen here for you, and as you can see, each column represents the level for it, and on the left it has the tiers. Now, you'll notice for tier 1 and 2 it has primary and secondary, and that's because the bottom 2 of tier 1 and tier 2 and tier 1, sorry, are secondaries and not primaries. Everything else is primary, and they have their own small difference in XP gain. Now, the cost and supplies per level though does not vary. So if you unlock tier 3 level 4, it's always going to be 750 supplies. Rank 5s are always going to be 1000. Rank 3 is always 500. Rank 2 is always 150, etc. Now, after you purchase a new variant or a new version, it will go to, let's see here, use the SMG for example. It will have the same thing as the perks. It will have the arrow in the top left indicating that's the one selected. If that is the one selected, that is the only variant you'll find in the world. You'll no longer find the worser versions. Now, if you're the host and you're playing with friends and like AI mixed in, etc., whatever the one the host has selected is the variant that the AI will find. But if you have your own set and you're playing with real players, they will find their own purchase levels of that gun, for example. Now, as I said, the next thing we're going to be moving on to is the different difficulties, which can be found at the top of your level select screen. And once you go into it, you'll see that there are 5 different difficulties throughout the World War Z game, and they are easy, normal, hard, very hard, and insane. Now, easy and normal are identical as far as I can tell. There seems to be almost no difference between them, so we'll get both of their kind of stats taken care together. Now, starting with easy, it tells you straight off the bat, players start with medkits, the zombie threat is reduced and friendly fire is minimal, and it's the starter difficulty, so it doesn't mind what level you are. This is what it suggests you begin on. Now, in terms of zombie threat, as far as I can tell, they're only affects their damage. It doesn't seem to affect the AI's aggressiveness, their awareness, the amount of them. The only thing that seems to affect is the damage that they produce, and the friendly fire being exactly as it sounds. And it's the exact same with normal and easy. The only difference with normal being that it recommends it for classes above level 5, but I'll be honest, easy and normal as I say are exactly the same feeling when you play it in terms of damage and the amount of zombies, etc. Now, when it says the friendly fire is minimal and the threat is reduced, what it means by the friendly fire being minimal is that you'll only do 1.5% damage to your teammates per hit on friendly fire, and the zombies will only do 3.12% damage to you per hit on easy and normal, so those stats are shared the same. Once you get the hard, it starts to get a bit different. This is when you stop spawning with medkits entirely at the start. It's recommended for classes level 15 and above, Friendly fire and the zombie threat are increased, and there's less supplies found throughout the level, so less chance of finding medkits, better weapons, supply and equipment charges, etc. It also, on this difficulty, the damage for friendly fire will shoot up from 1.5% to 2.5% per hit to your friendlies, and the zombies will do a difference from 3.12% to 6.25% per hit on hard. Now, easy, normal and hard, you can be knocked down 4 times before you are killed, but starting from very hard onwards, as you'll notice, you can only be downed twice before your character is killed. Now, you still also only start with no medkits. The supplies throughout the map are scarce as well, and it's recommended for classes above level 20. Now, the reason for that is that the zombie threat and the friendly fire are increased quite significantly from the other sort of small jumps we've had. From the friendly fire damage, it then jumps from 2.5% to 5% compared to hard. And the infected or Zeke damage jumps from 6.25% to 12.5% per hit that they do to you. Now, this is when things do start to get a bit difficult, but there is one difficulty above this, which is insane, which is recommended for levels 25 plus, so 25 to 30. The zombies are relentless, aka they do a lot more damage. Friendly fire is very large. Supplies are still scarce. You still don't start with any medkits, but you will die instantly after being downed once. So you get downed, rezzed, if you go down again, that's it, your character's dead and out. Now, in terms of the friendly fire damage, it's jumped from 5% on very hard to 8.3% per hit that you do to your teammates. And the Zeke or infected damage has jumped dramatically from 12.5% damage per hit to 18.75%, so almost 19% of your health gone in a single hit from any common infected. Now, there are a few small other differences that happen on the different changes in difficulty, such as certain items will be in different spawn locations, but as I said, we'll get to that in a bit later in a bit more detail. But for the basics, this is everything for the difficulties and the differences in them. Now we're going to move on to some in-game stuff, such as the HUD and items found there. So let's do it. Okay, next up we have the HUDs, and we're going to start in the bottom right, where it's going to display your currently equipped weapon, the ammo it has left in total, as well as the ammo it has left in the clip. And to the right of this, you'll notice a symbol which will represent whatever current equipment that you have on, as well as a number next to it indicating how many you have left of that said equipment. And this can be grenades, tasers, stim shots, anything of that nature. Above that, you're going to find your health bar, pretty obvious. And below the weapon indicator, you're going to find your weapon selection. Now, if the left bar is highlighted, that means you've got your secondary, the middle one is your primary, and the far right will be there if you have a heavy weapon. Now, if you move just up to the right of that a little, you'll notice we have our teammates' names and their health bars. That'll be there if you have it selected in the options, and that will show up for AI, it will show up for real players, etc. Now, next thing that you may have just noticed there, if you melee, in the middle of your screen you're going to have a small bar that will pop up, and it will have a few notches in amongst it. Those notches indicate how many times you're able to swing with your melee before your character tires out and needs to take a short rest to regain them before being able to melee in succession again. Now, in the top left corner of the HUD, you're going to notice your minimap. Minimap has a few neat features to it, which will highlight weapon box locations in terms of the little white arrows. It will also indicate teammates, what direction your objective is in. It will highlight friendly AI as green dots. But one of the neater features is it will also highlight red in certain areas to show the location of the infected / Zeeks. So if you look at the minimap, it's cut into sections. If there is a small red glow on the very outsides, it will indicate the direction that the infected are and that they are in the distance. If it highlights an entire section, it's going to indicate that they are about a medium distance from you. You should be able to see and start shooting them from this point. And if the centre is highlighted, it means you're currently being swarmed and they are all around you. Now, there is a bit of an extension to the HUD that we're just going to pull up now, and I'm going to take you through it bit by bit. So as I said, we've brought up the extension of the HUD, which is the in-game menu, which can be opened up to show on the top left the current difficulty you're on and the current level name. And on the left of the blue highlighted parts here, you're going to find your teammates' names, the class that they are playing, their level. To the right of that, you're going to get to see what their inventory is, so breaching charges, key items, equipment. And just next to that, you're going to find out what heavy weapons they have, as well as in general the kills, deaths, and a kind of breakdown of that. But the most important piece here is in the bottom right corner, where you will find your current weapons, level and XP, and that will track throughout the level as you kill infected, which means if you come up to a weapon that you really enjoy, but you're grinding out another one, you're able to quickly check, have a finish grind and kind of use this one, and you're able to kind of min-max that. And that covers everything in game across the HUD aspect. Okay, next up we have the types of infected in the world. So of course you've got your normal Zeeks and infected, but amongst them you have 4 types of specials that we also need to look out for. These being bulls, screamers, gasbags and lurkers. Bulls are the large enemies who will tend to charge at the team, grapple you and start hitting you against the floor. They're big and armoured and are best shot in the back or the visor to bring them down quickly. Next up we have screamers, who are just like normal Zeeks, just with a bit more HP, and they make a lot of noise once they stand in areas that are hard to reach or hard to shoot them from, to attract more Zeeks to come and rush you. Just spray them down like a normal Zeek and you'll be fine. After that we have hazmats. Hazmats wear big yellow hazmat suits, or gas bags as they're also called, and once you shoot them in the body they end up puffing into a cloud of green smoke. They tend to rush at you mixed in with other Zeeks in order for that to work and be effective. If you've got a good aim, you can shoot them in the face to stop this puff of smoke from happening and taking them down cleanly. Lastly, we have lurkers. Now lurkers tend to hide in a corner, wait for you to go solo or such, and then pounce on you like the hunter from Left 4 Dead. Pounce does some damage, but then they keep slapping you, which is where the real DPS comes in. Luckily they're weak as anything, so just spray them down as normal and it'll be all good. Next up we got some things that are going to help the survivors, because it's not all bad out there, and there are some things that they have to help them. These are going to be in the shape of weapon and defense crates. Now the weapon crates, as you can see, are the large rectangular green boxes. They have an exclamation symbol on top of them, and when opened these will contain a random weapon from the game and a medkit. The weapon itself will determine the difficulty that you're playing on, about the rarity of it, etc. Now multiple of these do tend to get found together, and they can also be found behind sealed doors. So keep an eye out and open them when you see them, as you never know when you might want that edge. Now the next type of crate you're going to find are defense crates, which are these small green boxes, and they have the yellow tape over the top of them. These tend to only be found at holdout areas, and that's because they contain holdout items such as mounted turrets, auto turrets, barbed wire and electric fences, and you can place those to help make the hordes a bit easier. Another type that you can find is the ammo crates, which are big green rectangular boxes brimming full of ammo, and you can open and use these as many times as you want. And then you also get the duffel bags, which are equipment refills, and they will make sure you bring all your equipment back up the full. So the next thing that I would say survivors need to be looking out for, or the basics of looking out for, is called a breaching charge. Now a breaching charge is a large black block of C4 explosives, and they're hidden pretty well throughout every level except for the beginning one, and their locations change depending on difficulty as well. Once you obtain a breaching charge though, you're able to take them to what is called a sealed door or crate and place it onto it. After a few seconds it will explode and you'll be able to go inside, and behind these it's just a small area with pretty good loot, or quite a lot of loot. The loot in here can be from a selection of meds, a new weapon, weapon crates, defense crates, or even just heavy weapons on their own. You can't get into these sealed doors any other way minus the breaching charge, so always be on the lookout for them. They do spawn in the vicinity of sealed doors, so if you see a sealed door there's a high chance that there's a block of C4 in the direct vicinity, or you've just missed the one for opening it. So always keep your eye out for it. They are well hidden. Once you get one, keep hold of it and keep an eye out for that sealed door as well, because it can make the difference between a successful run and an unsuccessful run. And finally, you come to the end screen. Now, the end screen will pop up every time you complete a level, and the end screen is going to be split into 4 pieces. The performance, class progress, weapon progress, and supplies. Now, performance is going to give you, compared to your teammates, a ranking and a bunch of different stats, such as aiding players, kills, melee kills, explosives, headshots, etc. After that, it's going to move on to class progress, which is going to show you your current class that you're playing, your current level, and it's going to provide you with XP based on your performance. Now, on the left, it will show you your current XP that you have, and on the right, the current XP that you need to get to a next rank up. Below that, it will pop up with the amount of XP you've gained and the reason for it, and if you get a new rank, you'll see what new perks you unlock on that screen as well. For weapon progress, it's going to take you through every weapon you've used in that campaign, and show you the amount of XP you've gained with it in conjunction with the zombies you've killed, and if you get a rank, it will show you here as well. For the supplies page, it will show you the amount of supplies you've earned for completing that campaign, depending on difficulty. And that is the entire end screen. And with all that partially rushed information there at the end, that is all the basic information that you really need to know to understand what everything means on each screen and phase of World War Z. As I said at the start of the video, we will be starting to look at guides for higher difficulties and tricks for getting through that. But we also said at the start, in order to really get through that, you need to know what everything means, and I thought this could serve as a bit of an FAQ type thing about some of the references we may make. Hopefully it helped. Remember to leave a like and share with your friend, and I will catch you in the later videos. Bye.